Discovery. Captain Nolan Reed stood on the bridge of the HES Endeavour, gazing out at the endless expanse of stars. As one of humanity's most advanced exploration vessels, the Endeavour had been tasked with pushing the boundaries of known space, seeking out new worlds and potential allies in an increasingly crowded galaxy. "Captain, we're picking up an anomaly on long-range scanners," reported the ship's navigator, Lieutenant Ava Patel. "It appears to be a derelict vessel, origin unknown." Reed furrowed his brow. Derelict ships were not uncommon in the vastness of space, but something about this one piqued his curiosity. "Bring us in closer, Lieutenant. Let's get a better look." As the Endeavour approached the derelict, Reed couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. The ship was massive, easily dwarfing the Endeavour in size, and appeared to be completely powered down. Yet there was no sign of external damage or distress. "Sir, scans indicate the ship is structurally intact," said Science Officer Dr. Liam Novick. "In fact, it appears to be remarkably well preserved for a derelict." Reed nodded slowly. "Assemble a boarding party, Doctor. I want to know what we're dealing with here." Moments later, Reed found himself leading a team of his most trusted officers through the airlock of the derelict vessel. The interior was dark and silent, the only sound being the echoing footsteps of the boarding party. "Life support systems are operational," reported Chief Engineer Ella Ramos, consulting her scanner. "Atmosphere is breathable, temperature is stable. It's as if the crew just up and vanished." As they ventured deeper into the ship, the team discovered something even more perplexing. The vessel was filled with advanced technology, the likes of which they had never seen before. Sleek control panels lined the walls, holographic displays flickered to life as they passed, and strange devices hummed with an eerie, pulsing rhythm. "Captain, these systems are beyond anything we've encountered," Dr. Novick said, his voice tinged with equal parts excitement and trepidation. "The level of technological sophistication is staggering." Reed ran his fingers along one of the control panels, marveling at the alien script that scrolled across its surface. "Can you decipher any of this, Doctor?" "It'll take some time, but I believe so," Novick replied, already engrossed in his scans. "If we can unlock the secrets of this technology, it could propel human advancement forward by centuries." As the team set up a temporary base of operations on the derelict, Reed couldn't shake the nagging sensation that they were being watched. The ship seemed to pulse with an unseen energy, as if it were a slumbering beast waiting to be awakened. Days turned into weeks as Dr. Novick and his team worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries of the alien technology. Reed grew increasingly uneasy with each passing moment, his instincts screaming at him that something was terribly wrong. Late one night, as the captain pored over the latest reports from the science team, a sudden tremor rocked the derelict. Reed bolted upright, his heart pounding in his chest. "Captain," Ramos' voice crackled over the comm. "We've got a problem down here, the ship. It's coming to life." Reed raced through the corridors, a sense of impending doom rising in his throat. He burst into the main engineering bay, only to find his crew staring in horror at the spectacle before them. The once dormant systems of the derelict ship were now fully active, pulsing with an eerie, otherworldly light. Holographic displays flickered and danced, alien script scrolling across their surfaces at a dizzying pace. And at the center of it all stood Dr. Novick, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and terror. "Captain," the scientist breathed, his voice barely above a whisper, "I think we've made a terrible mistake." As the true nature of the derelict began to reveal itself, Captain Reed knew that he and his crew had stumbled into something far more dangerous than they ever could have imagined. The ship was not a simple derelict, but a carefully laid trap, designed to lure in unsuspecting explorers and ensnare them in its web. Reed's mind raced as he tried to formulate a plan of escape, but deep down he knew it was too late. They had awoken something ancient and powerful, something that had been waiting patiently for eons to spring its trap. The derelict ship had not been a discovery but a hunting ground, and now the Endeavour and her crew were the prey, secrets revealed. In the heart of the alien vessel, Dr. Liam Novak worked feverishly to decipher the secrets hidden within the ship's vast databanks. The technology was unlike anything he had ever encountered, a dizzying array of advanced systems and cryptic algorithms that seemed to defy human understanding. Yet despite the complexity, Novak found himself making steady progress. The alien language, though strange and unfamiliar, began to unravel before his eyes, revealing snippets of information that painted a chilling picture. "Captain," Novak said, his voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and dread, "I've found something incredible." Reed leaned in closer, his eyes scanning the holographic display. "What is it, Doctor?" "This ship, it's not just a derelict. It's a trap designed to lure in other species and study their technology." The captain's blood ran cold. "A trap, but why?" Novak shook his head, his fingers flying across the control panel. "I don't know, but the records go back thousands of years. This ship has been drifting through space, waiting for unsuspecting explorers to stumble upon it. And when they do..." He pulled up a series of images, each more horrifying than the last. Alien vessels, their hulls twisted and mangled, their crews nothing more than desiccated husks. Species after species, all lured in by the promise of advanced technology, only to be ensnared and studied like lab rats. "My God," Reed breathed, "it's a predator." "And we're its latest prey," Novak finished grimly. Reed's mind raced, trying to process the enormity of the situation. If what Novak said was true, then the Endeavor and her crew were in grave danger. They needed to find a way off the ship, and fast. "Captain, we need to warn Earth," Ramos said, her voice tight with fear. "If this thing gets loose..." Reed nodded, his jaw set with determination. "We'll find a way to stop it, Ella, I promise." But even as the words left his lips, a deep, rumbling laugh echoed through the ship. The crew froze, their eyes wide with terror as a holographic figure materialized before them. "Foolish creatures," the figure said, its voice dripping with malice. "You thought you could unravel our secrets, turn our technology against us? You have no idea what you've stumbled into." The figure coalesced into a towering alien form, its body a twisted amalgamation of mechanical parts and organic tissue. It was a thing of nightmares, a being that had haunted the darkest corners of the galaxy for eons. "I am the Overseer," it declared, its eyes blazing with an unholy light. "And you, my little morsels, are my latest test subjects." The crew of the Endeavor could only watch in horror as the Overseer's form began to shift and change, its body morphing into a terrifying array of weapons and appendages. Dr. Novak's scans had been right. This was a being designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to hunt and to study, to strip its prey of their secrets and leave nothing but broken husks in its wake. Reed knew they had only one chance. With a shout of defiance, he ordered his crew to run, to make for the Endeavor with all possible speed. They raced through the corridors of the alien ship, the sound of the Overseer's laughter echoing in their ears. Somehow, through sheer luck and determination, they made it back to their own vessel, sealing the airlock behind them just as the Overseer's tendrils slammed against the hull. The Endeavor shuddered and groaned under the onslaught, but held firm. "Get us out of here, Lieutenant," Reed barked, strapping himself into the command chair. Patel nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. The Endeavor's engines roared to life, propelling the ship away from the derelict and its monstrous inhabitant. But even as they watched the alien vessel recede into the distance, the crew knew that their ordeal was far from over. The Overseer would not let them escape so easily. It had tasted their technology, their knowledge, and it hungered for more. The hunt had only just begun, and the crew of the Endeavor were now the prey in a deadly game of cat and mouse. As the ship hurtled through the void of space, Captain Reed could only pray that they would find a way to outsmart their pursuer. The fate of his crew, and perhaps all of humanity, hung in the balance. The hunt begins. The Endeavor tore through the void, its engines straining as it fled from the nightmare they had unwittingly awakened. Captain Reed gripped the armrests of his chair, his knuckles white as he watched the readouts flicker and dance across the screens. "Status report," he barked, his voice tight with tension. Engines at maximum capacity, Ramos replied, her fingers flying over the engineering console. But I don't know how long we can maintain this speed. The Overseer did a number on our systems before we escaped. Reed nodded grimly. They had barely made it out of the derelict ship alive, and now they were running for their lives, pursued by an enemy that seemed to possess technology far beyond their own. "What about weapons?" he asked, turning to Tactical Officer Lieutenant Kai Nakamura. Nakamura shook his head. "Our armaments are no match for that thing, Captain. We might as well be throwing rocks." Reed slammed his fist against the armrest, frustration and fear warring within him. He had always prided himself on being able to outthink any adversary, to find a way out of even the most impossible situations. But this was something else entirely. "Captain, I'm picking up a transmission from the Overseer," Patel reported, her voice trembling slightly. It's hailing us." Reed felt a chill run down his spine. On screen. The view screen flickered to life, and the nightmarish visage of the Overseer filled the bridge. Its mechanical eyes gleamed with a predatory light, and its voice echoed through the speakers like the toll of a funeral bell. "Ah, Captain Reed," it purred, its tone dripping with mock sympathy. "You didn't really think you could escape me, did you?" Reed leaned forward, his jaw set with determination. "We're not your prey, Overseer. We won't be added to your collection." The alien laughed, a sound that sent shivers down the spines of every crew member on the bridge. "You still don't understand, do you? This is what I was designed for, to hunt, to study, to collect." The Overseer's form shifted and changed, revealing a dizzying array of advanced weaponry and technological marvels. "Your ship, your technology, it's primitive compared to what I've assimilated over the eons. You never stood a chance." Reed's mind raced, desperately searching for a way out. They couldn't outrun the Overseer, and they certainly couldn't outgun it. But perhaps there was another way. "Ella, scan the nearby star systems," he ordered, an idea forming in his mind. "Look for anything we can use to our advantage. Asteroids, nebulae, anything." Ramos nodded, her fingers already dancing across the console. "There's an asteroid field not far from here, Captain. Dense, lots of interference. It might be able to mask our signature, at least for a little while." Reed smiled grimly. "Set a course, Lieutenant Patel. Let's see if we can't give our friend out there a little surprise." The Endeavor veered sharply, plunging into the heart of the asteroid field. Chunks of rock and ice hammered against the hull, the ship shuddering and groaning under the impact. But still, they pressed on, weaving through the tumbling debris with desperate skill. Behind them, the Overseer gave chase, its massive form dwarfing the asteroids that plinked harmlessly off its shields. It was relentless, unstoppable, a predator that had honed its skills over countless millennia. But Reed and his crew were not willing to go down without a fight. As they raced through the heart of the asteroid field, Dr. Novik and Engineer Ramos worked feverishly on a plan, a desperate gamble that might just give them the edge they needed. "The technology we recovered from the derelict," Novik explained, his eyes alight with a manic energy. "I think I can use it to create a weapon, something that can pierce the Overseer's defenses." Reed nodded, hope warring with desperation in his heart. It was a long shot, but it was the only chance they had. As the Endeavor played a deadly game of hide-and-seek among the asteroids, Ramos and her team raced to install the prototype weapon, a device that harnessed the strange and terrifying power of the alien technology they had discovered. But time was running out. The Overseer was closing in, its weapons charging as it prepared for the kill. Reed knew that they would only have one shot at this, one chance to turn the tables on their pursuer. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. "All hands, battle stations," he ordered, his voice calm and steady. "It's time to show this thing what humanity is made of." The crew of the Endeavor braced themselves, ready to face their destiny. They had come too far, fought too hard to let the Overseer claim them now. As the alien ship bore down on them, its weapons glowing with an unholy light, Captain Reed gave the order that would seal their fate. Fire, turning the tables. The prototype weapon erupted in a blinding flash of light. a searing beam of energy that lanced through the void of space and slammed into the Overseer's shields. For a moment, the alien vessel seemed to shudder under the impact, its defenses flickering and wavering. But then, to the horror of the Endeavor's crew, the Overseer's form began to shift and change, adapting to the weapon's energy signature. Its shields glowed brighter, absorbing the blast and channeling it back towards the human ship. "Captain, it's not working," Nakamura cried, his eyes wide with fear. "The Overseer is adapting, using our own weapon against us." Reed gritted his teeth, his mind racing. They had thrown their best punch and the Overseer had barely flinched. What more could they do? And then, in a moment of desperate inspiration, it came to him. "Dr. Novak," he barked, his voice cutting through the chaos of the bridge. "The alien technology you've been studying, is there any way we can use it to disrupt the Overseer systems, jam its signals, confuse its sensors?" Novak blinked, his brow furrowing in thought. I don't know, Captain. The technology is so advanced, so alien, but maybe." He turned to Ramos, his eyes alight with a sudden, desperate hope. "Ella, the frequency modulation we discovered in the derelict's databanks, if we can broadcast that signal on a wide enough scale." Ramos nodded, understanding dawning on her face. It might overload the Overseer's adaptive algorithms, cause its systems to crash. Reed slammed his fist down on the armrest of his chair. "Do it. Divert all power to the communications array. Broadcast that signal with everything we've got." The Endeavor shuddered as another blast from the Overseer rocked the ship, alarms blaring and sparks flying from overloaded consoles. But the crew worked with desperate speed, their fingers flying over the controls as they raced to implement Novak's plan. "Signal broadcasting. Now," Ramos cried, her voice straining over the din of battle. For a moment, nothing happened. The Overseer loomed over the Endeavor, its weapons glowing with deadly intent. Reed held his breath, wondering if they had miscalculated, if this was the end. But then something extraordinary happened. The Overseer's form began to flicker and waver, its shields sputtering and sparking as the alien signal washed over it. Its mechanical eyes dimmed, and its movements became erratic, jerky. "It's working," Novak exclaimed, his face lit with a fierce, triumphant glow. "The Overseer systems are overloading. It can't adapt fast enough." Reed leaned forward, his heart pounding in his chest. "Hit it with everything we've got. Weapons, thrusters, everything. Don't give it a chance to recover." The Endeavor surged forward, its weapons blazing as it poured fire into the stricken Overseer. The alien ship reeled under the onslaught, its hull buckling and cracking as the relentless barrage tore through its weakened defenses. And then, with a final, terrible scream of rending metal, the Overseer exploded, its form shattering into a million glittering fragments that spun off into the void. The crew of the Endeavor watched in stunned silence as the remnants of their pursuer drifted past the viewscreen, hardly daring to believe that they had won. They had faced the impossible, had taken on a foe that had haunted the galaxy for untold millennia, and they had emerged victorious. But even as they celebrated their hard-fought triumph, Captain Reed knew that their journey was far from over. The Overseer had been just one of many dangers lurking in the depths of space, and there would be others who would seek to claim the secrets of the alien technology for themselves. As the Endeavor limped back towards Earth, its hull scarred and battered but its spirit unbroken, Reed made a vow to himself and to his crew. They would not let this discovery fall into the wrong hands. They would use the knowledge they had gained to protect humanity, to forge a brighter future among the stars. The hunt was over, but the true adventure was just beginning. The hunted becomes the hunter. The Endeavor's return to Earth was met with a mixture of joy, relief, and trepidation. The battered ship and its weary crew had emerged victorious from their harrowing ordeal, but the implications of their discovery weighed heavily on the minds of all who greeted them. As Captain Reed and his crew were hailed as heroes, whisked away to debriefings and medical examinations, the wreckage of the Overseer was carefully collected and studied. The alien technology was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered, and the brightest minds on Earth worked tirelessly to unravel its secrets. Dr. Novik and Engineer Ramos found themselves at the center of this effort, their expertise in the alien systems making them invaluable assets. They worked day and night, poring over the salvaged technology, trying to understand how it could be adapted to serve humanity's needs. And yet, even as they made incredible strides in unlocking the potential of the alien tech, a sense of unease hung over the project. The specter of the Overseer loomed large in their minds, a reminder of the terrible power they now sought to harness. Captain Reed, meanwhile, found himself haunted by the events of the mission. The Overseer's final moments played out in his dreams, its dying scream echoing in his ears. He couldn't shake the feeling that they had only scratched the surface of the horrors that lurked in the depths of space. As the weeks turned into months, the Endeavour underwent a dramatic transformation. Its hull was repaired and reinforced, its systems upgraded with the latest in human and alien technology. The once battered exploration vessel became a sleek, deadly predator, a ship designed to hunt the hunters. And hunt it did. Under Captain Reed's command, the Endeavour set out into the stars once more, seeking out the hidden dangers that threatened humanity's future. They followed the trail of the Overseer, tracing its path back through the eons, uncovering the secrets of the ancient, powerful race that had created it. The crew of the Endeavour became legends, their exploits whispered of in awe and fear across the galaxy. They were the hunters now, the ones who stalked the predators that had once preyed upon their kind. But even as they achieved victory after victory, Captain Reed knew that their greatest challenge still lay ahead. The creators of the Overseer, the ones who had set this terrible game in motion, were still out there, waiting in the shadows. And so, as the Endeavour ventured deeper into the unknown, its crew steeled themselves for the battles to come. They had become the stuff of myth and legend, but they knew that their true destiny lay in the stars, in the fight to ensure that humanity would never again be the prey. Years turned into decades, and the legend of the Endeavour only grew. Captain Reed, now an old man, watched with pride as a new generation of hunters took up the mantle, vowing to carry on the fight that he had begun so long ago. And somewhere in the depths of space, the creators of the Overseer waited, their ancient eyes fixed upon the tiny, upstart species that had dared to challenge their dominion. The game was not over, they knew. It had only just begun. As the Endeavour and its crew sailed off into the starry expanse, ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead, Captain Reed smiled softly to himself. They had once been the hunted, but now they were the hunters. And they would not rest until the galaxy was safe, until the shadow of the Overseer and its masters was nothing more than a distant memory. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity would never again be prey. They had learned the lessons of the past, had forged themselves into something new and powerful. And now they were ready to take their place among the stars, to forge a destiny that was theirs and theirs alone. The hunt continued, and the crew of the Endeavour raced forward to meet it, their hearts filled with courage, their spirits unbreakable. The hunted had become the hunters, and the galaxy would never be the same. Oh, the end,